I really had to gather myself for that one. I didn't know that I was going to be feeling this way. Like I say, y'all, I've never spoke on ATRT. I've never spoke on this. I've never had anybody to even speak to about it. I really felt like at that time, even though I was in Cali and everybody else was on Eastern, on the East Coast, I had a couple of supporters, but I didn't have as much of support that I needed, And I'm not mad at anybody. I'm not even mad at the daddy, because at the end of the day, for what? It's not gonna make a difference, But it was a hurtful time. But anyway, so we took him back to Loma Linda, and they had to end up putting him. No, he didn't go on the machine at that time. It was just, he was sick, fever. Oh my God. Fever. It was a lot. He was losing weight. His weight was declining. He was looking like he was sick. So he went from it's gone away to he's really sick. At that time, the father was my husband at that time. And so when February came, his grandmother had passed, and we took him out the hospital to go to a funeral. That was the dumbest shit I could ever did in my life. But it happened. That's what I did. I feel like shit because I'm thinking at that time the hospital wasn't doing anything, so I could figure it out. But it was really, in reality, I took him out to go to a funeral. I went to that funeral. He was just sick. He was barely eating. He didn't want to eat. We went to the house where the grandmother passed away at, and it was cold in there. People was treating us like crap. I mean, went through some traumatic times, okay? It was horrible. It was a horrible experience. The baby was really sick and nobody cared. Nobody cared. Nobody around us cared. Nobody cared. They only cared about what they cared about. I mean, and we went in the wintertime. In the wintertime over there on the East Coast, it was cold. So we had to leave due to certain circumstances. I took him back to the hospital. When I took him back to the hospital, they monitored him at the hospital, and they was just like, he's sick. The ATRT came back. And I'm just like, ain't this about a bitch? I literally said, ain't this about a bitch? So I'm thinking that he was sick because, first of all, I did change his diet. I'm like, okay, we don't want this to come back. I did everything from essential oils to rubbing it behind the ear, because the little microorganisms, you put it behind the ear on the foot, and I did that. I did the Dr. CB, went to the store, got everything that I thought I needed. I also went and did the sour sop, and the doctor was like, it's in the brain. It's nothing you can do. It's in the brain. And I said, wow. So if it was a blood cancer, he could survive it. But it was a brain cancer. He couldn't survive that. He couldn't survive that. Oh my God, I went through some hell in them hospitals. I sat at Chalk Hospital for months, not washing my ass, not wanting to eat. I stayed on my phone because that was my entertainment. But I was alone. I was by myself. No friends, no family out there. It was just me and my kids. And the person that I was surrounded with wasn't no help. And wasn't no good for me. Okay? March comes, because he comes home at this time. So March comes, and they had already sent everything, because at this time they say that he had to be in hospice. That's what they say. And when March came, he was at the house. I made his hospital bed in the living room. He had everything. And he just stopped breathing. March. I think it was like March 11th. He stopped breathing. So I rushed him to the hospital, and then that's when they put him on life support at Victor Valley. Yep. Yeah. So we go back to we went back to we went to Chalk Hospital of Orange County. And of course he was still on life support. They flew him out there. I sat in that hospital, y'all, praying, like, please, please save my baby. I was talking to him every day, like, I'll do this if you stay with me, I'll do that if you stay with me. He left anyway. He left anyway. I never talked about this story. I never wanted to. I just wanted to live and keep moving. I pulled the plug May 10th. And I pulled the plug due to it was nothing. It was no coming back. It had already went into the back of the brain, where all the organ parts is at, where you're supposed to go to sleep, where you're supposed to eat, drink, like the function of the brain, what it tells you to do, subconscious mind. That's what I will call it. It didn't work no more. It didn't work no more. They call it the cerebral spinal something. It didn't work anymore. Just didn't work. When she told me, because they tried to take me off, they wanted him to come off of life support back in March, and I was like, no, he's alive. His eyes is open. His eyes wasn't open. They were open, but he was gone. I didn't know he was gone. I couldn't accept the fact that he was gone. I'm like, this is my second child, my second boy. Not my second child, but my second boy. I want my boy. I had so many girls. I got 3 girls. Yeah, this was horrible. There was a lot going on. Fighting, fussing, blaming. I was the only one that got blamed out the whole situation. And I carry that blame with me because I was going through it while pregnant. I was pregnant and I was arguing and I was fighting, and I didn't have to go through that. And everything that I felt while carrying, I transferred that to the baby. That's how I felt. I transferred that to the baby. I got to the point where it was like, well, maybe it's his bloodline, But in reality, yeah, I can admit that, I transferred my anger, my pain, my hurt to my baby while going through domestic violence at that time. I can admit that. I can look in my mirror and admit that. Death happens to us all. Everybody has their journey. And I learned that. I didn't have no support system. I couldn't talk about what was going on because of what I was facing at that time. It was just me, by myself. So I wanted to keep going. I had to psych my own mind and say, you know what? He's gone, but he's here. Because energy never dies, right? That's what we all say. Energy never dies. Well, spiritually, if you spiritual people. Because it doesn't. It was a horrible experience. And I wouldn't wish that on anybody. ATRT is horrible. I hate it. I hate that. I couldn't hold babies. I didn't want to be around people that was pregnant. I didn't want none of that. But ATRT is a rare cancer that occurs in babies that's 3 years or younger. And the signs and symptoms are fever, and of course, a head swell. Your head, their head starts to swell. Don't treat it as if it's hydrocephalus. You treat it as if it could be, and you take that baby to the doctor. I took my baby to the doctor, yeah, but I'm just, for the moms out there, it was a horrible experience. It was a horrible experience. I was literally alone. I was literally by myself. Imagine you losing a kid and people telling you that it's your fault that you lost your kid, or your kid died because of the way you act, or what you believe in and what you don't believe in, or because they got their own things that they're going through, or it's a high, that's why your kid dead. And they don't even know that they didn't even hurt me, because the damage was already done. It was already done. And now that I think about it and I'm talking back about it, I never wanted to revisit that in my life. I ain't never wanted to visit that. Yeah. ATRT sucks ass. I fucking hate cancer. Fucking hate cancer. And I was mad at myself for causing the damage. I was mad at myself for even going through the shit that I went through while pregnant. I was pissed off. So it is what it is. But I remember everything. And I remember everyone that was mean to me and bitter to me during and after. I remember, and I'll never forget. And I can't believe that I even speak to those people to this day. I don't know what type of heart I got. But my cutoff game is very strong. Once it's cut off. I don't never want to talk to a lot of people. We'll talk about Pharaoh next and what happened to him. But King was my sunshine. That was my handsome. That was my handsome. And he was a beautiful baby boy. Going through what I went through at that time, I'm actually glad that he didn't make it. I'm just keeping it real. Because I was faced with a lot of shit. A lot of shit. I went through some shit. He didn't need to be raised in that environment. So the universe took him because he did not need to be raised in that environment. Not at all. And I can acknowledge that as a woman. I can acknowledge that as a mother. He didn't. No kid should have been raised in that type of environment. So with that being said, ATRT sucks ass, and yeah, it sucks ass. For parents that want more information, just Google ATRT. I don't know. It's a long word, but it's a rare disease. And when it comes, it comes. And if you can't get it out and just leave a grain of salt or a grain of rice, like the doctor told me at LA hospital, the cancer doctor, he said they should have never touched on them anyway. And if somebody would have told me what it was by running blood and all of that, I would have never had the surgery to begin with. And I would have allowed him to just, but I was in mommy's mode. So I'll see y'all in a minute. Have a nice day.